What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to my mock draft 2.0 first round. So let's get into it. This is going to be a no trade edition, so we can go on PFF. Just going to be going full on picks, and this will. I think that the Aaron Rodgers trade isn't going to matter anyway. I think that if the Packers are going to trade Aaron Rodgers, at this point most likely, I don't know why it hasn't been done yet. It should have been done. But yeah, that I think will be second round picks. So yeah, no trades, just straight up these picks. And then for our final mock that I'll do the week before the draft, I will do a 2-round mock plus trade. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, let's dive into it. Starting out with the first pick in this draft, and this is the Carolina Panthers. And this one seems like honestly, I think that this is the easiest pick here in this draft. It's easier than a lot of people are saying. And I think that's definitely Bryce Young for the Carolina Panthers. They traded up this much. I don't see you picking a player like CJ Stroud, who I see as more of a high floor player, but not as high of a ceiling. Bryce Young is the best player, best QB in this draft, I think, by far. And he should get drafted first overall, which will leave the Texans on the clock. And this is where you got to go with C.J. Stroud. I mean, honestly, though, I could very much see Will Anderson Jr. That pick's growing on me here for the Texans. Maybe just build up this defense for next year and get the USC kid, Williams, I think is his name, who is he's a really good prospect. Played excellent there. But yeah, I mean, I could very much see that happen, but I kind of got to go a little bit realistic. I don't see that happening. I mean, there was a report earlier today that might happen, but I think that might just be smoke that we see all the time during the draft. And so I'm going to go with CJ Stroud. Maybe next time, if I feel a little bit crazier, go in with the players. And remember, this is a mock draft of what I would do. This isn't a mock draft of predictive. So I would still pick CJ Stroud probably. I got to be at least somewhat realistic. So I do think that CJ Stroud is the best pick because they're not going to have like any QBs to work with. And honestly, for the Texans to bring in CJ Stroud, he's going to be an excellent player. So yeah, I think that's a good pick. Then we got the Arizona Cardinals next up. And Will Anderson Jr., easy pick. Especially in a no trade down draft. I mean, that's just a pretty obvious one. This team so desperately needs that blue chip talent, and they're going to get it. And then a little bit of a controversial pick here. I did it last time. A lot of people would be saying Anthony Richardson. I'm going to go with Will Levis. The hate for Will Levis has gone way too far, in my opinion. I really do like Will Levis. He had nothing, no talent around him, basically no talent around him. I mean, it was just absurd how bad that Kentucky team was. That offense was around him. No O-line. Yeah, I mean, he's getting way too much hate right now. I think he's going to be a great player. Now, Anthony Richardson could be the better player in the future, but like I said in my last mock, I'm not as confident in like drafting a QB that is going to start right away with Anthony Richardson. I think that Will Levis, if they bring him in, he can start right away, and that's basically what the Colts are going to need to do because I don't think that they're going to trust whoever their QB is to start above him. They don't really have any time really to bring in a veteran QB for Anthony Richardson to sit behind. There's none really available, so I think that's a good pick for the Colts there, and let's move on to the Seattle Seahawks upcoming here. And this is a really, really tough pick here. If I'm Seattle, there's 3 players that I would want here. Jalen Carter, Tyree Wilson, and then the shocker one to some is Devon Witherspoon. I'm a Seahawks fan. This cornerback room is a need for Seattle. A lot of people overlooking it. So in a trade down scenario, I think that I would want to trade down if I'm the Seahawks to the Raiders at 7. Maybe the Raiders want to jump the Lions for Richardson, or the Falcons want to jump the Raiders and the Lions, those two, I would be fine with trading down, accumulating an extra pick, maybe in the second round or something. That would be a good trade for Seattle. But like I said, no trade mock draft here. So with that, I went probably what I would want would be Jalen Carter as a Seahawks fan. But let's flip it up here. Let's flip it up. A very good other option would be Devon Witherspoon and Tyree Wilson. I'm going to go with Tyree Wilson. Like, Devon Witherspoon is very unrealistic for the Seahawks to pick him because this team does not like to draft QBs early, I would know. But Tyree Wilson, Devon Witherspoon's arguably the best player in this draft. I mean, he's getting overlooked. But anyway, Tyree Wilson, excellent prospect. He's going to be, he doesn't have the off-the-field concerns like Jalen Carter. He's a freak of nature. And Seattle, they do need that a good edge player along with Nwosu here because they don't really have that. Moving on, though, to the Detroit Lions. And the Lions here with this pick, I think that they got to go with Devon Witherspoon. That one's pretty not pretty obvious. I could see them going Jalen Carter. I could see them going Anthony Richardson. I did that on my last mock to develop behind Jared Goff. But I think this team, they can win with Jared Goff the way he was playing last year. I think that that's a good pick for them. Devon Witherspoon. I know it's kind of risky, though, because the Lions aren't going to be getting that top pick. That this top pick, because I think this team's going to be good next year, so they can't get that QB of the future. But I think that you can roll with Jared Goff. And let's change it up. Last time I went Anthony Richardson. Devon Witherspoon, like I said, he's a phenomenal prospect. He's going to be excellent. All right, and then the Raiders, and this fit perfectly for them. Pick Anthony Richardson to develop behind Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, the Raiders, they can go so many options here, but with Anthony Richardson there, it makes a lot of sense. Moving on to the Falcons, and the Falcons with this pick, Jalen Carter has slid here. You got to go with the blue chip prospect. I know he has some of those off the field concerns, but at 8 for the Atlanta Falcons, that's probably the max I see him falling. Maybe to Philadelphia. But I mean, if you look at Jalen Carter, man, what a player he is, and he's going to be. If he can get that off the field stuff worked out, he's going to be a phenomenal player. Moving on to the Chicago Bears here. If I'm the Bears, I am going to go with Paris Johnson Jr., who is down the board here. Whoa, that is too far. Paris Johnson Jr., I think, is the best tackle in this class. Has the higher upside over Peter Skronsky. I know Peter Skronsky is the more proven talent here, but Paris Johnson Jr., man, what a player he is out of Ohio State. I really do like him. And the Bears, they need some tackle help. So that one's pretty obvious to me. Moving on, though, to the Eagles. I'm going to go with Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback out of Oregon there. Now, I could really see Philadelphia going with Bijan Robinson. That would be a phenomenal pick for them. But I'm going to go with Christian Gonzalez here. I mean, Christian Gonzalez, really good player out of Oregon. A comp to him, I think, is Darius Slay. And Darius Slay, obviously, out of the Philadelphia Eagles. So, I mean, they need – don't quote me on that, actually. It was one of the two good cornerbacks from the Eagles. So maybe it wasn't Darius Slay. I get them mixed up, but Christian Gonzalez on the other side, he's going to be an excellent player for them. He fits their scheme, and I like that pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. I like it a lot. Then the Titans, this is where I'm going to go with Peter Skronsky. Pretty obvious pick here. Tackle help is needed for this team. I could see them going receiver, maybe an edge, but I think that the Peter Skronsky pick is pretty obvious for them. They're going to need some tackle help. And then moving on to the Texans, and this is where I'm going to go with Lucas Van Ness. I'm just growing on this pick like every day. I mean, this pick, it just is so obvious to me. With It's D'Amico Ryans, right? I'm not slipping that. Let me search it up because I can't. Yeah, yeah, D'Amico Ryans. I was just making sure I didn't slip that up. It was some other name. But D'Amico Ryans, I would trust no one else but him, the new coach for the Texans, to develop a player like Lucas Van Ness, who didn't play all too much at Iowa. Like I said, the Texans, I think their defense needs a ton of help. This team needs a lot of help. And getting an edge player like Lucas Van Ness is going to be a really good pick, I think, for them. Then the New York Jets here with this pick. And the Jets, I think, with Aaron Rodgers, we're assuming Aaron Rodgers is here. They need some to build up that tackle room there. And this one, I think, is going to be Broderick Jones. He's 26 on the list out of Georgia. Broderick Jones, really good tackle with Peter Skronce and Paris Johnson Jr. out. I think you got to go with Broderick Jones. That one's pretty obvious because, I mean, you don't always trust this needs bar from this, but if you were just going off this, I mean, you're not drafting a linebacker with the 13th pick. So the tackle there for the Jets just makes too much sense. And then we got the New England Patriots here. And I'm going to go with a pick that I did last time, Deonte Banks. I mean, Deonte Banks is underrated at this point. I mean, he is just a freak of nature. I really love this prospect. With Bill Belichick here, he's going to love this player with his system. And I'm telling you, Deonte Banks is going to be special at the next level. Just watch. He is one of my favorite players in this draft. As a Seahawks fan, I'm praying that he slides to 20, but I don't think it's going to happen. If my evaluations are correct, I mean, this guy is just insane, man. If I'm wrong on him in the future, I will take it, but I think this guy's going to be excellent in the NFL, like a really good top cornerback. Moving on here to the Packers. And this is where I have Jackson Smith-Njigba. Just a perfect fit. I don't think he's the best receiver in this class. I do think Quentin Johnston's better. But the Packers, they got their two outside receivers. They need that slot guy. Jackson Smith-Njigba is the perfect fit. That one's pretty darn obvious. It's pretty ironic that they're going to pick a receiver when Aaron Rodgers leaves, but it's how I see it happen. They're going to need to build around Jordan Love, as I assume they're going to be starting him. So, yeah, that's where I'm going to go with Njigba out of Ohio State. Then the Commanders up, and the Commanders are always a tough pick for me. There's a lot of different options that they can go with, but I'm actually going to go Joey Porter Jr., take advantage of these really good cornerbacks. These four cornerbacks that went off the board, Devon Witherspoon, Christian Gonzalez, Deonte Banks, and Joey Porter Jr. are four extremely good cornerback prospects, and you want to jump on them if you can. The Commanders, they do need a cornerback here, and I think that'll be a great pick for them. Then moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this is where I'm going to go with Brian Bursay. The Steelers are going to be kicking themselves. I think that they really wanted Joey Porter Jr., but they're not going to get him. And then there's a drop-off for the cornerbacks after Porter Jr. I think that he's the fourth best. And then there's a big drop. There's not a big, but a drop-off there. But Brian Bursay, the Steelers, Cam Hayward getting up there in age, they're going to need a player. This is the perfect fit, I think. Brian Bursay, he's a little bit more of a boomer bust prospect. Just develop behind Hayward, get a little bit of some reps in, and he's going to be just fine, I think, as a Pittsburgh Steeler, especially with Tomlin coaching him up. And then moving on to the Detroit Lions, I'm going to go with Kalijah Kancey with this pick, a back-to-back defensive lineman coming off the board. I mean, this Kalijah Kancey player, he's going to be an excellent rusher for this Lions defense. I think that he's a really good fit for this team out of Pittsburgh. And honestly, I could see the Lions being very crazy and going Bijan Robinson, probably the best player in this draft, excluding positional value. But I don't think it's going to happen. I'm going with Kalijah Kancey. So the Lions go back-to-back defense with their first two first-round picks. And then going over here, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kind of a tough pick here. The Buccaneers need a lot of options here. As you can see from that needs, that basically sums it up. But I'm going to go Dwan Jones. Did I pass him? Oh, no, I didn't. way down the board, out of the other Ohio State offensive lineman, DeJuan Jones, man, I really do love him. Out of Ohio State. Um, I mean, he kind of got some of the spotlight taken out of him from Paris Johnson Jr., but I mean, it's why this Ohio State always has really good offensive linemen. I mean, it's just proven throughout the years that they do. So DeJuan Jones, just a perfect fit for this team, and I'm going to go with him. Then the Seattle Seahawks up next. And I always struggle with my Seahawks with this pick because there's a lot of different directions they could go. I think that they could go receiver. Since we already picked an edge earlier, I think that they could go defensive lineman. I think that they can go inside defensive lineman, that is. I think that they could go cornerback. I really do want another cornerback in there. But with Joey Porter Jr. and all the other ones gone, Deonte Banks, that's the one I really want for them. He's a really good zone corner. But anyway, you got I could see them going receiver, but Jackson Smith-Njigba, who I think is the best fit for this team, to be a slot guy developed behind Tyler Lockett, is gone. So, yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to go with someone here. And I'm going to reach maybe on someone that might be a little bit of a surprise to people. That's going to be Mazi Smith. Mazi Smith's been consistently mocked in to go to the Cowboys. But honestly, I am going to jump the gun on Mazi Smith. He's a really good run stopper. The Seahawks need that. Getting Tyree Wilson earlier on in this draft, I think is going to, I think that they need to build up this defensive line. And really, if you get Tyree Wilson and Mazi Smith, those are going to be really good players. A little bit of a reach, but Seattle's been known to do that at times. So I think that's a good pick for them. And then going to number 21, we have the LA Chargers. And I'm going to go with Bijan Robinson with this pick. My, oh my, what a player, Bijan. This I think is the max here with the rumors of Austin Eckler wanting out of the LA. I think that you gotta go with Bijan here. I mean, just what a fit with Justin Herbert. He would be an excellent fit with Jalen Hurts as well. He would be an excellent fit on basically any system. That's how freaking good he is. But I mean, not only is he one of the best runners, he is a freaking good receiving threat. And honestly, he's even a better prospect coming out than Saquon is, and that's saying a lot because Saquon went 5th. I think he is even better, but obviously with today's NFL, you don't really normally take a running back that soon. So that's where I got Bijan Robinson going at number 21. And then the Ravens up next. We got Quentin Johnston. And Quentin Johnston, Ravens lucky to get him here. I know they just signed Odell Beckham Jr. back, but Quentin Johnston, man, at 26, I mean 22, that's just an obvious pick for me. He pairing with Odell, he's going to be nicely. If the Lamar Jackson talks aren't done by then, that probably will push Lamar to get back. Maybe this is all smoke screen for Lamar for them to pay Odell and draft a receiver. I think that might be, but yeah, I mean, Quentin Johnston, man, that would be an excellent pick for this Ravens team. And then moving on to the Vikings, and I think that the Vikings are going to be thrilled with this pick, and that's going to be Tyreek Stevenson all the way down. My, oh my, 46. He's projected at 54. I mean, that is just disrespectful. I think this is a first-round corner. And to the Vikings, he fits their scheme. They need a cornerback bad. Tyreek Stevenson feels like a really good fit for that team. And then moving on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm going to go with Brian Branch. This team's biggest need, I think, is safety. And Brian Branch, really good player there out of Alabama. A little bit more of a less important need there. I mean, a position, but like I said, it's a need, and he's a really good safety out of Alabama. And then moving on to the Giants, we're going to have Michael. I mean, this is my controversial pick for the Giants here. This might be my most controversial pick in this whole draft here. I know they just traded for Darren Waller, but I'm picking up Michael Mayer. I honestly like what the Giants did to fill out that receiver room, and this is a run heavy team. They love to get their two tight ends out there. Michael Mayer is one of the best run blockers in this draft. He is the best. He's a really good run blocker. I was a little bit disappointed. Came on like his Notre Dame profile as like weighted like 260 or something. He actually was 250 at the combine, so that's a little bit of a knock on him. But Michael Mayer, man, with the Giants, I'm telling you, this is a Brian Daboll player. With that system, he's going to fit in right well with that team and will be a perfect fit for that run-heavy attack. I know that's a bit controversial. Giants fans going to be saying, pick Zay Flowers, pick Jordan Addison, get ourselves a receiver. I'm telling you, Michael Mayer and Darren Waller on both sides, that is going to be a really good duo there for the Giants. And then moving on to the Dallas Cowboys, we're going to have Zay Flowers here. Now, obviously, you probably want Mazi Smith with this pick. I mean, that is just pretty much the obvious pick here. They need a defensive lineman, but Mazi's gone with the Seahawks. So I think that Zay Flowers is the next pick here, if he is there, which he is in this mock draft. Jordan Addison, I'm not as high on. I like Zay Flowers more, and I think he'll be a really good fit for them. Then we got the Buffalo Bills. And I'm going to go with Darnell Wright here for the Buffalo Bills. Darnell Wright, I mean, the Bills need a tackle here. Don't let this defensive back need fool you here. I think that they need a tackle here. And Darnell Wright out of Tennessee, he's a really good player. I love Darnell Wright. And moving on to the Bengals with this pick. Bengals, I normally would go with an offensive lineman for this team, but look who is on the board. Dalton Kincaid slips all the way to 28, and you got to take Dalton Kincaid at that point if you're the Bengals. I mean, just imagine him with Joe Burrow, this team, this receiving threat. I mean, my oh my, that would just be scary. Dalton Kincaid, man, just continue to build up that receiving threat. That's going to be the best passing attack in the NFL next year if they get Dalton Kincaid. Obviously, there's still concerns on the O-line, but my oh my, I mean, that's just too good to pass up if you're the Bengals, in my opinion. And then the Saints, another player that slipped here is Nolan Smith. And obviously, with Cam Jordan getting up there in age, they're going to need to replace him. Nolan Smith, I think, is the perfect player to come in and even play and then replace him eventually. He's a little bit undersized, but with him slipping that far, you can't pass up on him. I'm really high on Nolan Smith. I know he's falling here, but I'm high on him. I just think that all these other teams don't need an edge right here. Besides, if we go all the way up to the Texans with Lucas Van Ness, I don't think anyone else will pick an edge. I think that they're happy with all their other picks. But that is where I would go with the Saints. And then moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles, a tough draft selection here. You could go with a cornerback. I mean, well, no, you could go with a safety, but guess what? That's who I normally go with for this team would be Brian Branch, but he goes to the Jaguars. Could go with a receiver, maybe Jordan Addison. There's some options. You could replenish, keep the pipeline going with that offensive tackles there with Antoine Harrison. But I'm honestly going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs. In a normal draft class, Jahmyr, where is he? There he is, all the way up there. But in a normal draft class, Jahmyr Gibbs would be the best. A normal running back draft class, he would be the best running back in this class. Maybe even better than Hall last year. Maybe, I'm not entirely sure that those two probably would be very close. And then obviously Kenneth Walker. I was honestly lower on Kenneth Walker. As a Seahawks fan, I completely take back that take. I'll be honest, I did not like the pick. Now, looking back at it, I really do love the pick. So you're never always right. Just know that I was wrong on Kenneth Walker. But anyway, Jahmyr Gibbs, really good player there for the Eagles. They don't really have a running back right now. They need to fill that position. He's going to be an excellent player, I think, at the NFL. level. And then the final pick for the Kansas City Chiefs. This one's pretty obvious. They need an offensive tackle, Antoine Harrison. Pick him up, and that is your mock draft. Let's let this thing grade. And nope, we do not want that. Not sure how to exit out of this. Okay, there you go. So let's look at it. So Bryce Young goes first overall. Can look at all of the other players, and then obviously the final pick in this first round is Antoine Harrison. So anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video today. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the content. Comment down below your thoughts on this mock draft, your opinions, who you think your teams should pick. And anyway, peace out.